Hey everybody, welcome to the Hamakua Homestead. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany and today we are pressure canning chicken pot pie in a jar. So obviously this is a meal starter. So what you're gonna get inside of your jar is the basics, and then when you are ready to make your meal, a month from now, 6 months, a year from now, then you can add whatever you want to it when you put it in your pie. Stay tuned at the end of this video. I will show you how to prepare this after you're ready. This recipe says on the website that it will make 10 quart jars, but what I'm thinking is I'm gonna make one full canner load, and that is 7 quart jars, so whatever's left over, I'm gonna use for dinner tonight. I just really don't feel like running a second canner for 3 jars. That's really what it comes down to. And I've already been cooking today, so I doubt that I'm gonna wanna cook again later. Makes sense, right? To get started, you're going to par cook your chicken. You're going to need 10 pounds of chicken. This can be breasts, deboned thighs, whatever, 10 pounds of chicken. Cut up your chicken into pieces that are whatever size you want. Roughly 1 inch by 1 inch. As long as you don't go too crazy with the size, it'll be fine. But I'm cutting mine up a little bit on the smaller side because that's what my sweetheart has requested. He's not a big fan of canned meat, but when I served him pot pie and didn't tell him it was from canned meat, he really liked it. The only request that he had was that I would cut up the meat a little smaller. So that's what we're doing today. To cook your chicken, you're going to put it into an oven at 350 degrees for 30 minutes. Now it's not going to be totally cooked, so don't eat it like this. Don't snack on it. It's not all the way cooked through. It's just cooked enough to keep it structured during the canning process. When you take your chicken out of the oven, you're going to see a lot of liquid. It's okay. It's natural. It just happens. Now it's time to start cutting up your veggies. Start with 1.5 pounds of peeled cut carrots. It is important to peel your carrots and your potatoes because that's the way that they have been tested and approved for your safety. One head of chopped celery. 2 pounds of peeled chopped potatoes. 16 ounces of washed and sliced mushrooms. 2 cups of whole kernel corn. I was looking for frozen at the store, didn't find any, so I used some that I had previously canned up. Now add in 3 quarts or 96 ounces of chicken broth. The recipe that I started from with this did not add in any seasonings, no salt or anything of the sort. That wouldn't do for me in my household, so we added in a couple basic spices or dried herbs that I think would go well with the chicken. I did double check and make sure that it was okay that I add them now, and it is, according to the extension office, which is where they do their testing and approving of these recipes. So here's what I did. 2 tablespoons onion powder, 2 tablespoons dried thyme, 2 tablespoons dried basil, 2 tablespoons salt, and 1 tablespoon black table pepper, 1 tablespoon black pepper, and 2 tablespoons garlic powder. Bring this up to a boil, and make sure you keep your lid on so that it doesn't just evaporate. Now it's time to fill up your jars. fill up each quart jar to the halfway mark with chicken. So we've got them filled up halfway with chicken. I'm gonna use this for dinner. Now I am going to fill the rest of these up to a 1-inch headspace with the solids, and then I'm gonna top them off with the liquid because I want a good mixture of all the things in all of the jars. Right, so now we are going to clean our rims and get these into the hot canner. Hot jars, hot canners. I'm going to clean the rims with vinegar to cut through any fat or any grease or anything that might be on the rims. It's spices and everything on there, so gotta be careful. Don't want that interfering. Now we're gonna put on our rings and lids. Fingertip tight. Now pop them into your hot canner. So when you're ready to button up your canner, it's hot, your jars are hot, you're all ready to go, make sure you don't forget to do your check. You want to double check, make sure that this thing is working properly. Take a peek through here. Make sure that there's nothing clogging it up. Make sure that all the seals are good. This little doodad is good. You don't have too much wear and tear on your seal. Make sure it's not like cracking or anything like that. If you need to, go ahead and put some grease on there to make sure that it won't crack over time with age. And there we go. We're going to walk away from this. Well, not really. Don't walk away. Don't walk too far. We're going to let this come up to a full boil until there is steam coming out of the steam pipe, steam vent. Don't run away. Just wait for that to happen. We have a full steam coming out now here. This is my first time canning on this particular stove. So I am keeping an extra careful eye on it because I don't really know how this stove behaves. So, having said that, we're gonna start our timer for 10 minutes and allow this full-blown stream of steam happen for 10 minutes. That's terrible lighting. It's terrible. The timer has gone off, so now we're going to put our weight right on top. Where's my weight? Where is it? Dang. Right where they belong. Goodness. Now put your weight on top, and now we wait again. Now that our weight is jiggling, we're gonna set our timer for 90 minutes for quarts. If you're doing this in pints, you're gonna set your timer for 75 minutes. Time's up. It's been 90 minutes, so now we're just going to turn off the heat and walk away for a little while. We're gonna wait for the pressure gauge to come down, wait for this to stop dancing, wait for this to be all the way to 0, so there's no pressure whatsoever, and then you'll open it up after that. So just wait a while. I'm gonna leave this cracked for a few minutes, let it kind of come down. I don't want to expel all of the hot air and get all the cold air in too quickly, because that is a great way to get siphoning and jar breaking. And that's it for tonight. I'm gonna leave these out on the counter to come down naturally. I'm not gonna help it cool down whatsoever. I'm gonna leave it on the counter for about 24 hours. Then I'm gonna come back check the seals. Wash the jars. Label them and put them up on the pantry shelf. And then I'm gonna bring you guys back and show you how to prepare this in a pie. Wow. Wow. Okay. Hold on, I gotta make a pie crust. Hold on. Now it's time to make a pie. I made both a top and a bottom, so we'll go ahead and get these put into our pie tins. I don't think that they're called pie tins because they're glass, but same thing. This has been refrigerated for a little while. It might not be that pretty, but it's gonna taste amazing. Let's pop this back into the refrigerator while we make our filling. And I'm gonna put the top back in too because I don't want it to get too soft because then it's really hard to deal with. So I want it to be nice and firm. First thing, okay, it's been less than 24 hours, but I really wanted to make this pie. When my son got home yesterday, he thought that we were gonna have pie for dinner last night. I felt bad. So we're doing it tonight. And so this is what it looks like. We've got good seals. I think all the other ones are sealed too. I'm gonna wash those up in a few minutes. But this one we're gonna make right now. So we're gonna begin by just making a very simple roux. Start with a couple tablespoons of butter and a couple tablespoons of flour. I'm just looking for the butter to melt and for it to integrate with the flour into kind of a paste. And then I'm heating the flour so that it cooks off that raw flour taste, because that is just kind of weird. So if you cook it off like this, it tastes much better. Now it is time to start adding the liquid. We're just going to use the liquid right here out of our pot pie jar. So this is our chicken broth. I think I've got my heat a little too high, turning it down. See how it still stays real thick even after I've added some liquid? Now I'm just stirring it in, letting the flour absorb the broth, and now it's becoming more of a gravy texture. I'm going to be real with you guys. I have to add more liquid from a different jar of broth. The way I figure it, if I'm not going to show you each and every step, and even when I have to improvise, then what's the point? Because you're gonna do this and then you're gonna be like, what did I do wrong? I didn't have enough liquid. Well, I had the same problem, so whatever. It's fine and dandy. I just grabbed another jar of regular old chicken broth out of the pantry and just add some more liquid until it's a texture that I like, which is a nice, thin, thick gravy. Okay. That's about good. I'm gonna add the contents of my jar. And there you go. I think that's gonna be quite nice. Now we can fill up our pie crust. But before I do that, I'm going to pre-cook my crust a little bit. That way I'm sure that it's not gonna become soggy at the bottom. Our pie crust is preheated, and so we're gonna fill it up. Ta-da! It's that easy. I'm just gonna poke some air vent holes in it. They can be pretty, but they don't have to be pretty. It's okay. It's okay. We're just making dinner here. Into the oven you go. Then we just bake it until the crust is the way that we want it. Nice and golden brown, and the juices are bubbling through those vent holes. Here's your pie. Have a pie. Now, you do not have to make your own crust. I looked in the freezer to see if I had a pre-made one just for the sake of the video. I didn't, so I did have to take the extra time. Now you can make this with any type of crust that you want. If you want to grab one out of the freezer from the store, go for it. If you want to grab one out of the freezer that you made from previous, just for sake of convenience, by all means, do it. It's time. It's done. It's done, and it looks gorgeous. A little. Ooh. That is looking good. It looks amazing, you guys. It really, really does. Unfortunately, we're not going to have a taste test because I don't consume flour, especially, you know, unfermented flour. But I generally just don't eat pie crust, bread, things like that. So we're going to just let this cool. And so that is going to do it for today, you guys. I hope that this inspires you guys to get those ready-made meals up on your pantry shelf. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Hamakua Homestead. I'll see you again soon.